8 innings pitched, just 4 hits, no runs, and 8 strikeouts. That is one heck of a way to have your first career MLB start. We'll talk about Davis Daniels' dominant debut as a starter and a beautiful 5-0 Halo win on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel after every single Angel game. And in this one, we had a beautiful, dominant performance from Davis Daniel, his first career MLB start. And not only was he solid, not only was he above average, he was darn right dominant. 8 innings of shutout pitching, just 4 hits allowed, and 8 strikeouts in a 5-0 Angel win over the Tigers. The Angels have now won 4 in a row. We'll certainly talk about that. We'll talk about those 5 runs as well. Couple of big flies. Miguel Sano, welcome back. Willie Calhoun stays hot. And we'll also look forward, 4 wins in a row. We know the schedule's easy coming up. When do we start talking about really caring about this winning streak? We will talk about all of that. But before we do, a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. And I got to say, before we jump into this one, I am all about transparency. That's why I don't like the Angels front office. I will be very transparent. If you can't tell by my background, I'm in a new pad, a new spot. I spent the last 30 hours of my life moving out of my apartment in Westwood. Like you know by now, I'm a recent UCLA graduate. I moved all my stuff from one apartment in Westwood to another, basically without a car. So imagine that. Luckily, it was only a couple blocks down, but still, imagine moving an entire apartment without a car. And so that's why we're a little bit late. I know the game ended like a half hour ago. I know I'm a little late. I know I'm probably sweating. I know there's no Angels banner in the background. Don't worry. We will certainly return to having that beautiful Angels background. The setup will look a lot better. I'm in a new apartment, okay? And I honestly finished moving in like midway through the game. And so I'm doing my best here, but I'm fired up. And of course, it's ironic. We get the quickest Angel game, one of the quickest games of the season. I think they said 2 hours and 5 minutes. So, of course, the one time that I'm hoping for maybe a long 3-hour game, giving more time to get set up, no, we don't get that. We get a absolutely lightning quick game. Shout out to everybody in here. A lot of people in here. Nick King says, Thursday, W. Davis Daniel is a dog. Gio Urshela should have been an Angel. Artie still stinks. I agree with all 3 of those. Break Less says 4 in a row, baby. Let's go. Anaheim Angel says, I totally agree. Hope to see much more of Daniel and Joyce closing it out in the future. I'll get to the rest of the comments throughout this one, but I got to get started because I'm already almost 4 minutes in, and I got to talk about this Davis Daniel start. And I'm really annoyed because I was moving in and out of my apartments. I was half watching it on the TV, half listening on the radio, and I really wish I could have sat down like I normally do and watched every single pitch, watched every single reaction, every facial expression, everything. Because Davis Daniel put forth one of the best starts of the season for any Angel pitcher in his MLB debut. Against the Tigers team who, let's be honest, has not been playing their best baseball as of late. They're slowly falling further and further below 500. But it does not matter. If you don't know anything about Davis Daniel, I'll give you a quick rundown of his career. You might be wondering, who the heck is this guy? He made his professional debut in 2021 in high A ball, single A ball, made it to double A in 2021. Mainly, a starter obviously in the minors, but kind of the trajectory was always to be an MLB reliever. In 2022, he did make 21 starts for AAA Salt Lake, was solid, made it up to the Angels MLB roster, but did not make an appearance. Then in 2023, last year, if you do remember, he had 3 appearances. He was 1-1 with a 2.19 ERA, 12 and a third innings pitched, gave up 3 earned runs, had 9 strikeouts. He was recalled by the Angels on September 7th, made his debut. He was solid, right? He was solid. But in 2024, had not had an opportunity to make it to the majors yet until this moment. And we all know why he's here. Patrick Sandoval out for the season, maybe out for all of next season. Maybe we'll never wear an Angel jersey again. We know Reed Detmers is hurt. We know Chase Silseth is hurt. We know there's all sorts of injuries and issues with the Angels rotation. And so Davis Daniel, all 6'1", 190 of them, with a fastball coming in at just around 92 miles an hour. There's nothing like athletically special about this guy. 6'1", 190, throws a 92 mile an hour fastball, which is certainly not quick, and he throws that 53% of the time. There is nothing special about Davis Daniel in terms of his athletic ability, right? And yet, he just kept things simple all night, throwing strikes, forcing a not great Tigers lineup at all. Look at the bottom of this lineup. Baddoo, 114. Malloy, 140. McKinstry, 190. Kelly, 237. That end of their lineup is worse than the Angels. And so, ironic, it takes a guy making his MLB debut, or debut as a starter at least, to see what we've been preaching all season in terms of what we want from Angels pitchers. Throw strikes, avoid the walks, keep it simple. Your fielders are pretty solid behind you. I'm getting more and more confident with the Angels fielding every day. A lot less foolish mistakes. And just a super clean start. No walks, no errors, no issues. Just 4 hits. 8 strikeouts was kind of a surprise given the non-spectacular stuff he has. But you could not have asked for more from Davis Daniel. And does this mean I think he's suddenly the ace in the rotation? No. Does this mean I suddenly think I am really confident about our rotation even without, even without everybody, even with everybody hurt or in AAA and all that stuff? Even with all that, I don't think this is like suddenly a, I'm blanking on the Yankees pitcher who's been Luis Gil. This is not suddenly a Luis Gil type of run I'm expecting, but he's going to do this. He's going to throw strikes. He's going to keep things simple, and it's going to work out, at least in the near future. I think so. So shout out to Davis Daniel. Love to see a guy in his debut have a solid performance, but to have a performance like this, it is absolutely unreal. And like I said, I really, really wish, it's so ironic, one of the rare games where I'm not sitting down and watching every single pitch, where I'm half looking at the TV, half listening to the radio. It's the one time that I really wish I could have looked at his facial expression, looked at his, mechanics, just everything about him to a close T, because this was phenomenal. And I'm really looking forward to that next start. The second start is always the hardest. When you have a debut like this, it's always the second start. When now there's a scouting report on you, now there's expectation to maybe do it again. And we'll see whenever that is and how he performs. But for now, let's just embrace one of the best performances of the season by any Angel starting pitcher, and it comes for a guy in his MLB debut. You gotta love that. I'll look at a few more comments before we take our first break here. Once again, I know things are a little weird. The background's weird. I hope my mic quality is okay. This is not going to be the setup going forward in the new apartment. I just honestly was getting this together in like the 7th inning. So shout out to everybody in here. A big crowd in the audience tonight because it's a big win for the Angels. 4 wins in a row. I love to see that. But yes, I promise the quality of the postcast will improve and go back to our regular standard starting tomorrow. But shout out to everybody in here. Anaheim Angel, Break Less, Nick King, Daniel Barry as always, Fut Alex as always. Fut Alex says Angel home run derby, and we'll get to that after the break. Multiple home runs helping the Angels have a very calm, collected, easy win. I mean, just so like one of the rare games where there was never a moment where I felt like even Angel foolishness would cost us in this one, because it was 1-0 pretty early. It was 2-0 through the 4th, 5-0 through the 5th, and Davis Daniel was cruising. It was hard not to feel confident about our Angels in this one, and rarely do you get to say that. But with all that being said, I will take my first break here. I am Gavin Carlson. If you don't know who I am, I'm a credible guy, okay? A credible journalist, 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area, and now a part of the Locked On Network, of course. So with all that being said, with the explanation about the chaotic state of the postcast today and the very not chaotic and very, very wonderful start from Davis Daniel. With all that being said, we'll take our first break, and when we come back, we will discuss the Angels' offensive performance because both sides of the ball were fantastic tonight. We'll talk about that after our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Now, look, I say it every time. Locked On, whether it's me in the postcast, whether it's the Super Halo Bros, whether it's any Locked On channel, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, the playoffs, or just a night like this in the middle of June where you're watching a beautiful Angels win. No matter what, Locked On here, it's year-round. But you know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. Like I said, I just moved to a new apartment. How does that affect my taxes? I don't even know. I need a tax expert to tell me, and so do you. So, with over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or you finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit taxnetworkusa.com/lockedon. That's TNUSA.com/lockedon, or you can just see the link in the episode description below. Tax Network USA. And today's show is also brought to you by the wonderful people at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. We are back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast, and a very happy postcast it is because the Angels have won their fourth in a row with a dominant Davis Daniel debut start in a 5-0 win over the Detroit Tigers. We already talked about that amazing start from Davis Daniel, and boy, how amazing was it? It was absolutely phenomenal. But that was not the only great part of this performance for the Angels, because the offense came through for the most part against a very solid pitcher in Jack Flaherty. He came into this one at 5-4. He's now 5-5. The ERA is still at a pretty solid 3.24 as someone just revved their engine behind me. But Jack Flaherty's engine, ironically, his ERA still a solid 3.24 after this performance, despite the Angels putting up a great offensive performance. I'll say great because I think it was pretty phenomenal. Flaherty goes just 5 2/3, gives up 7 hits, 5 earned runs, thanks to 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 big flies. And ironically, it started with a guy that I was critical of yesterday. I did not know why Miguel Sano was in the cleanup spot yesterday. It did not make any sense to me. He's just come back. It's not like this is Mike Trout coming back from an injury. This is a guy who wasn't even playing professional baseball last year. Why is he suddenly in his first start back in the cleanup spot? And again tonight in the cleanup spot. I did not like it. But I liked it a lot more when in the second inning, he takes a ball and crushes it. A solo shot, his second of the year, because if you do forget, he did play before he got hurt, but he absolutely crushed this one. 108.5 exit velo, 406 feet to deep center field on a 2-2 pitch, a fastball right down the middle, let's be honest, but he crushed it. 406, like I said, 108.5 off the bat. And, you know, if there's one thing Miguel Sano can do, it's if he squares up a ball with that huge frame, that huge swing, he's going to hit it far. And that's what he did. And it jump-started the Angels offense because that was not the only home run for sure. Ironically, after a Miguel Sano strikeout in the bottom of the fourth, the Angels get another solo shot thanks to another veteran who has been all over the place, who has been doubted at times, in Willie Calhoun, and he continues to get it done. This one, even deeper than Miguel Sano's. On a first pitch fastball, once again, catches way too much of the plate. 105 exit velo, 414 feet to deep right center field from Willie Calhoun. And just like that, it's 2-0 Angels in the bottom of the fourth. I say it so many times. This is a momentum team. This is a young team with their few veterans being guys that are not very established. This is a momentum team. And it just felt like, with how well Davis Daniel was pitching, cruising, it just gave so much confidence to the entire team. And even though it's not like the Angels were stringing together a ton of hits, a 1-2-3 bottom of the first, other than home run from Miguel Sano, 1-2-3 bottom of the second, bottom of the third, 1-2, and then a single, and then an out. So just 2 hits in the first 3 innings, but one of them was a big fly. And then the fourth, back-to-back strikeouts. Flaherty looking pretty solid other than that one mistake. But the vibes are great. Davis Daniel is dominant, and you have some good matchups. Willie Calhoun against the righty, love to see it, and he crushes one. And suddenly, despite only a couple hits, it's 2-0 Angels, and you just felt like, wait, this Davis Daniel guy, he feels, not only is he pitching well, but it feels like he's going to keep pitching well. And he did. And it just gave so much confidence to the Angels lineup that in the bottom of the fifth, after a couple solo shots, we get a Zach Neto double. It feels like we're saying that a lot lately. Zach Neto double. He leads off the bottom of the fifth with one. And then even after the combination, the polarizing combination of Moniak and Adele goes back-to-back outs, a 2-out Nolan Shanuel single scores Zach Neto. First pitch sinker right down the middle. And that's what was killing Flaherty tonight. He just left a couple too many fastballs or sinkers right down the middle. Both home runs on fastballs right down the middle. This sinker on the first pitch, Shanuel jumps on it, rips it, 100 mile an hour exit velo. Zach Neto scores, and it's 3-0. But this was not it in the bottom of the fifth, of course, because Shanuel steals second, and Rengifo, who I still think has been the best player for the Angels this season. I don't know if that's even a hot take. Certainly the average is up there. It's second in all of the American League, behind Bobby Witt Jr. He hits a ball not as deep as Willie Calhoun, but as deep as Miguel Sano. 404 feet, 102.1 exit velo with Shanuel on second base. A huge, huge swing. This one, not a bad pitch from Flaherty. On 3-2, a slider just below the knees, right down the middle, but below the knees. But Rengifo, nice, beautiful, compact swing, gets all of it. Hits the ball from his knees, not from his knees, at his knees, 102.1 exit velo, 404 feet to right center field. And just like that, the Angels blew it open. 5-0 heading into the top of the sixth. And that was certainly all Davis Daniel needed. The Angels couldn't do anything from there, despite a kind of crazy bottom of the sixth where you have a Hoppy single, a wild pitch. Hoppy gets to second, then he gets to third, then Zach Neto walks. But the Tigers bring in a reliever, and they're able to get Mickey Moniak out with 2 outs. Bottom of the seventh, a hit by pitch, but that's about it. Bottom of the eighth, which is 1-2-3, but it's okay. It's okay if your team rolls over in the last couple of innings when your pitcher is pitching the way he was. And I just think the Davis Daniel stellar start really gave so much confidence to this team. Ironically, it was the young guy leading on the mound and the veterans leading in the lineup with Sano, Calhoun, and Rengifo getting it done with the 3 home runs. But yes, Flaherty, a good pitcher, one of the better pitchers in the American League on a bad Tigers team, and the Angels were able to rough him up tonight. So shout out to the lineup, shout out to Davis Daniel once again, because his start gave this team the confidence they needed. And shout out to everybody in the comments for making me laugh, because Fudd Alex said, who else was surprised by that Miguel Sano home run? And he said, I was. Then Anaheim Angel says, I was. Then Nick King says, I was. So we were all surprised by that Sano home run. We were all surprised by that Davis Daniel start. But how nice that we are surprised by good things and not surprised by Taylor Ward missing balls in left field and Rengifo making bad base running decisions. We're surprised by good Angels baseball tonight. How good it feels. We're going to take our last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Once again, I am Gavin Carlson. Once again, the Angels victorious 5-0. Shout out to everybody in here sticking with me, despite the lack of an Angels banner in the background, despite the late start, despite all of it. Shout out to everybody in here, and I certainly look forward to getting back to the regular scheduled program tomorrow. We're going to take our last break here, and when we come back, we're going to look forward to I'm going to talk a little bit big picture. I know I did it a little bit yesterday after the A's sweep, but this team surprised me tonight. I'll be honest. I want to talk about what we're looking at going forward. All right. We're going to do that after our last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, once again, today's show is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival's city. Now, this is an ironic ad read because I'm actually going to New York in a couple of weeks. I haven't bought the flight yet, but as you know, I just graduated. Want to have a little summer trip before I really hunker down to being a working adult. And I'm going to go to New York, and I'm hoping to catch a game. And I know the Yankees and the Mets are not direct rivals of our Angels, but it's not like we love those teams. And certainly I'm not going to be sitting there rooting for those teams. But I think it's a clever idea to go travel around America. It doesn't have to be your rival, but just any ballpark. I think it's one of the best parts about baseball is the unique stadiums, the unique cities, the unique baseball city cultures. And so, from hotels that overlook the stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. And today's show is finally brought to you by the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try the LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. Angels 5, Tigers 0 in a beautiful Angel win today on a crazy Thursday for me. If you didn't hear my spiel at the beginning of the show, I have spent, I'm not even lying, the last 36 hours moving from one apartment to another one that's about a 10-minute walk away without a car for most of the day. So you can see some of the sweat on my forehead. You might even see I'm a little tan, I'm a little frazzled. It was a crazy day for me. I've honestly never been so exhausted in my life. But you know what made the day worth it? You know what made me happy? Have a smile on my face, even in the 90-degree heat, even with my calves burning? That beautiful Angel win, that beautiful Davis Daniels start, and that beautiful 5-run performance on the Angels lineup. I know 5 isn't crazy, but I'm satisfied, especially against Flaherty, especially with Davis Daniel dealing. And with all that being said, let's look a little big picture now before we end this one. Shout out one more time to everybody in here. Fut Alex said, booking, yeah. And Nick King said, PNC Park is my dream visit. That's honestly up there for me. I grew up in the Bay Area. I think some of you know that by now. Going to what was then AT&T Park, now Oracle Park. And a lot of people say that that's one of the, I feel like the MLB has, of course, the traditional parks that will never be touched in terms of being considered the best. Fenway, considered one of the best. Wrigley, considered one of the best. They're historic, they're iconic, so are the teams. Yankee Stadium is still kind of like that, even though they were remodeled. I've been to Yankee Stadium. It was great, but it didn't feel as, historic as a Fenway or a Wrigley probably feels. But among the parks that aren't maybe as historic and are just beautiful parks and are just beautifully laid out, I'm biased because I grew up going to AT&T Park, now Oracle Park for the Giants. I think that's up there, but the only one that people always seem to say comes close is PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Beautiful park, love the yellow bridge, love it all. But anyways, what else I love? The Angels tying for their longest winning streak of the season now, 4 wins. We know they swept the A's And that's hardly a baseball team, a Major League Baseball team. But the Angels certainly could have split, gone 1-2 or 2-1 against the A's, able to overcome a really weak start yesterday to the game and pick up the sweep. And then riding that high. And once again, this is all at the Big A, where the Angels have not been good this season. Suddenly you've won 4 games in a row, all at home. And some people, not myself, but some people were coming into this, stretch against the A's, against the Tigers, against the A's again, and then against the Cubs, and saying the Angels could win, 11 out of the 16 against these 16 games against sub-500 opponents, win 11 out of the 16, and maybe, just maybe, do you reconsider this team a little bit? And I was saying, come on now. 1, I didn't think it was going to happen. 2, even if it did, all the Angels are doing is beating teams that are maybe slightly worse than them. This is nothing to get excited about. But I'll be honest, not only have they been solid wins, or not only have they been 4 straight wins, they've been solid wins. We're seeing encouraging things. We're seeing Zach Neto come through. We're seeing Mickey Moniak come through. We're seeing Nolan Shanuel today coming through. In addition to the expectation of a Luis Rengifo coming through, a Taylor Ward coming through. Now we're seeing these sort of off the beaten path veterans like Miguel Sano and Willie Calhoun coming through. And then above all else, we're seeing a random guy, not random, sorry, Davis Daniel, but a guy making his first MLB start not come through, absolutely dominate. So it's not just the 4-game winning streak, which is certainly great, but it's about how the Angels are winning games that I think maybe changes my mind a little bit. And I'm not saying this team is making the playoffs. I'm not saying this team's going to have a winning record, but I am saying that this is actually encouraging. And this isn't just, oh, you're winning games against bad teams. This is encouraging. This is something you can build on. And we ironically haven't even talked about it yet. We saw Ben Joyce close this one out, not Estevez. Don't know what the decision was there, or the reasoning was there. Maybe you guys heard it on the broadcast and I didn't. But Ben Joyce instead of Estevez, maybe it's just that it's a 5-run game, and now they say that. I think that's what it was. 5-run game, not a save opportunity. Use Ben Joyce instead of Carlos Estevez. I think that makes sense. But we're already seeing Ben Joyce being used a lot more. We see a young guy in Davis Daniel used. The youth, movement, the youth revolution is slowly happening. And, I think personally, I have said it all along, that is what I'm the most focused on, is the young guys coming through and the veterans doing their part, so maybe that they can be traded, or so that they can lead and help the young guys grow. And so it's another game, 4 in a row in my opinion, where not only did the Angels win, which I still think is priority number 1, I'll be honest, but 1B priority is the team coming through with the right guys for the future. And like I said, it was Moniak with the grand slam. It was Zach Neto with the bases clearing double. It was Davis Daniel today. Young guys coming through. Ben Joyce having a great performance. That is priority 1. And then priority 2 is the veterans doing what they're supposed to. Rengifo, Taylor Ward, Willie Calhoun, Miguel Sano. And so I'm not going to suddenly jump around and say, Angels are going to the playoffs. Angels are going to have a winning record. But hey, I will say that 34-46 looks a lot better than 30-46. And I don't think the Tigers are on sweep watch yet, especially because it's a 4-game series. But if you win 3 out of 4, and you have now won 6 out of 7, and if you count it, 8 out of 9, counting the Dodgers series, that is a great start. Or it's not 8 out of 9, 8 out of 10. I don't even know if I can do the math right now. 7 out of 9. There we go. I think that's very encouraging. I really do. And so it's ironic. Today was probably the day I was the least glued into the TV since I started doing the postcast, but tomorrow might be the most glued in to the TV I have been, because I really want to see if this team can keep this going. It's just nice to have positive vibes, right? Whether it means something, whether it means you're competing for, first place in a division, or it means you're just competing to not be last in your division. It's just nice to see your team win baseball games and seeing the right guys doing it. And so certainly guys are coming back. Still haven't seen Brandon Drury. Don't know what his deal is. I know he's had the stomach issues. Maybe I missed some news today. Like I said, I was all over the place. But you still got Brandon Drury back. We still have that guy that nobody loves, Anthony Rendon, back. And eventually we'll get Mike Trout back. Eventually we'll get more guys back in the rotation. There's just good vibes and positivity with the Angels, and you don't get to say that very often, especially in 2024. And so I say, Let's embrace it. Let's soak it in, and let's keep it going tomorrow. Shout out to everybody in here one more time. MCat, very clever username, says, hey, new to the chat, just wanted to drop in and say I love your podcast. I listen to it on Spotify usually, but figured I'd leave a comment. Thanks for your hard work. Also, wow, Davis Daniel. Well, MCat, thank you very much. And it's ironic. I may be being a little hard on myself today because I don't like the quality of the show, just because I think the background should look better, just because I thought I should have gone live closer to the end of the game, just because I am exhausted. I slept like 4 hours last night. I'm ridiculously dehydrated. And so I'm honestly running on low energy and low attentiveness, and so I'm being a little bit hard on myself. I always want this show to be great, but that really makes me feel good, MCAT, that you are a fan of the podcast. I know this is still relatively new. I think we're about 25 games in or something like that. And we're just trying to keep this thing going, keep trying to have a place for Angels fans to go after every game and get a good breakdown, get the stats, get the key takeaways, and build a community. And so shout out to you, MCAT. Really appreciate that. Shout out to everybody who's always in here. One more time, Nick King, Fut Alex, Anaheim Angel, Daniel Barry, Breakless. Shout out to everybody in here. No Jeff today. I think he said he's gone for a little bit. But shout out to all of you. Love you all. Appreciate the support. And we'll be back to coming on right after the show or the game ends tomorrow, hopefully after another Angel win. Finally, Fut Alex says 38 wins after the A's series. Hope. 38? Well, what would that entail? That would take, are you saying a sweep of the Tigers? A sweep of the Tigers would be 37. No, so you're not even saying a sweep of you're just saying winning both series. Okay, Fut Alex, I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Who knows? Get closer and closer to 500 at the All-Star break. You're still going to sell guys, but I think you're then in the spot where you can sell a Taylor Ward, you can maybe even sell a Rengifo, you can sell a Hunter Strickland, you can sell a Carlos Estevez, and still not be horrible. Still win every other game, something like that, right? I think it can happen. So, with all that being said, and one more really nice comment from MCAT saying you're doing amazing. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, everybody. Shout out to everybody in here. Fingers crossed that when we come into the postcast tomorrow, it will, 1, be after another win, and 2, be much more like a normal Locked On Angels postcast with me, Gavin Carlson. But with all that being said, Angels 5, Tigers 0, and Davis Daniel, the superhero, the star, the MVP, the player of the game, 8 shutout innings in his first MLB start. Angels win. Hopefully they can do it tomorrow. They've won 4 in a row. A win tomorrow would be the longest winning streak of this season. Let's make it happen. Shout out to one more comment from Fut Alex saying, great podcast, bro. Keep it up. Shout out to all of you. I really appreciate the kind words, and I will keep it up tomorrow. So, with all that being said, I'm Gavin Carlson. The Angels are victorious. I am signing off. I'm going to go get some rest and go watch every single pitch of tomorrow's game. I hope you do as well. I hope the Angels win, and I hope you are back here tomorrow night. I'm signing off. I'll see you tomorrow.